Hi, this is your host, Kristen Howe. I'm so excited to welcome you to our call with today's guest, Harrison Klein. Harrison has been one of the leading visionaries and pioneers in the human potential movement that has developed multiple new teaching techniques designed to stimulate intellectual and cellular integration, internalization, and transcendence. Harrison helps reveal how to unite your conscious, subconscious, and superconscious minds into the perfect universal alignment. And on the call with Harrison today, you will discover a unique series of insights explaining the words I am and their profound effect on your life, how your self-components like consciousness, mind, and spirit are linked to the I am effect, awareness of the universal laws and how to apply I am to manifest your greatest life. You'll discover the benefits of knowing and applying principles of the self. Will reveal what has been keeping you from achieving manifestation up until now, and finally, how to integrate the I am effect on a cellular level. This is exciting. I can't wait to talk about this, and I've been wanting to have Harrison on to speak about this. So without any further ado, Harrison, thanks so much for joining us today, and welcome to the call.
That's my great pleasure to be here, Kristen. I always like interviewing with you and having fun with the audience, and this is great, important stuff, and I am very much emotionally and physically and mentally behind everything that we do here, so very cool.
Wonderful. And yeah, this is such a great group of people listening, and you're such a great speaker, and you have so much that we need to hear that I'm psyched to jump in. Can you give us just a little bit of your story and background so that we get an idea of some of the amazing turnarounds maybe that you've experienced that have brought you to a level of such high manifestation?
Sure. I'm someone who was born into shame and guilt and criticism and desire and blame and all kinds of negative things because my parents were people who survived the Holocaust in a world full of torture and negativity and doubt and the worst things that man can do to man and for no reason whatsoever. But the process that I was born into translated itself into a home filled with fear and scarcity and the anger and the frustration and the shame and guilt that goes along with those things. And being a precocious kid, because my parents were very intelligent in their early years, as they grew into this process of just interacting in the household that I was in, they were broken spirits from what had happened to them. And in being broken, I really had very little to connect to, and the capital and the extent of my mind was really damaged fairly continuously until the point where I retreated into sort of a silent autism. You call it, today they might call it autism. And it was dark and it was cocooned and it was foggy, and it really shut my mind down into a place where my entire internal system was raging with the word no. And that rage was I didn't want to experience anything because it was all pain to me. I lived that way for 27 some odd years, and from the time I was about 3, so near the time I was 30, in this darkness that I secluded myself into, this raging no that went on caused me pain within the context of connecting with anybody. So I could make no eye contact with people. I could make no voice contact. I could make no tactile contact with anybody. And I was in this dark space, and all I wanted to do was withdraw from life. And today they might call that Asperger's disease, but back then they didn't have a diagnosis for it. And nobody really knew what it was. They just knew at that time that I was shy and that, I was quite withdrawn from all things that were going on. So in the process of all that, I had no conversations with anybody. I had no friends as I was growing up, even into high adulthood. I had no connection with anybody. I was a good student because I could read and I could remember. So I had sort of a savant gift in that. So I was also a good student in art because it was the only expression that I had other than the fact that I could read. And so one evening when I was in my apartment, in Cleveland, Ohio, back in the 70s. Without warning, I was yanked out of my body, thrown into this vortex of white spinning light without any kind of reference to anything that I'd ever known or seen or felt or heard of before. And my experience was that I was being sent at a velocity near the speed of light, going through the universe, watching planets form and destroy themselves and form again, and stars and things being birthed and dying. I was filled with continuous colors and sounds and patterns coming at me at a velocity beyond my capacity to understand, nearly blanking me out for unconsciousness, but amazing visuals and amazing auditories as I was going through this. Now, how long I was there is a question I have no really understanding of. Whatever it was, when I came back into my body and was deposited back into that chair that I was sitting in when this experience took place, I wasn't the same person that left with that prior to that moment. The autism and the articulation, the lack of visual stimulation, lack of visual connection or auditory connection had totally gone away. It was a spontaneous healing. And suddenly my senses were acute, they were heightened, they were dramatic. All of my senses were engaged. I could feel waves of feeling in my body. I could actually see and experience the thoughts that came up through my spinal cord that rose and popped into my brain like the bubbles of a boiling pot of water. My visuals were very enhanced. The colors that were around me vibrated with complete vibrancy and transparency, and the sounds that I was hearing were far wider and deeper than anything I could imagine. I could hear conversations 30 yards away, that through walls and all kinds of other things that I couldn't hear before. At least, maybe the average person who with an acute sense could have maybe heard those at some other time, but in my life I had never heard anything like that. And so my humanness was totally transformed. The depth of 20 years of pain, the depth of 20 years of depression, the depth of 20 years of inability to make any contact was reversed in that one instant. And as that one instant came to fruition, the extent has stayed with me for all these years. I could talk, I was intelligent, I could articulate, I didn't even know all the enormous depth of the things that I had learned over those years, and I was constantly surprised at what was coming out of my mouth. I was constantly surprised at this feeling of no otherness. I was light as a feather. I was experiencing physical things going through my body that I had been numb to for 30 years. I was in a different state altogether. I was the awareness of the awareness. And it was a place that many of us might call heaven. So the depth of darkness can be transformed 180 degrees, and when it is, by the state of grace, which this was, it was a touch on the forehead by grace. And when it's transformed, the depth of the pain became the height of the joy. And that pain was very, very deep because I was holding 30 years of compressed feelings, consciousness, and energy within my body. And when it was released, it was like the Big Bang. And that's what sent me spinning through the universe in this tube of white light. So I came back, and, it took a while to integrate that because I had no idea what was going on. I was very confused for a long time and extremely uncomfortable because the vibration was very high, and I was coming from a place of the lowest vibration you could possibly imagine. So I went from heaven to hell in one shot. It's like going from kindergarten to PhD and being expected to perform at the PhD level without going through any of the grades in between. I was very lucky I could hold on. I don't think most people could. My tenaciousness was simply there because of all the pain I had experienced before. So I was able to hold on, and eventually it became something that I understood, and eventually it became something that I was comfortable with. And then my life has been, the rest of what you guys know about my life is history at this particular point, or what you don't know about it is history.
One way or the other. Yeah, your story is amazing, and I love it because I think it's so powerful, and really lets everybody listening feel like, okay, you know what? This is all possible for me. Effortless manifestation, all of that. So I think the words I am have been tossed around a lot lately, but I love what you have to say about this, so I want to share that with everybody because I know you have a unique series of insights regarding the profound meaning of I am. So can you explain what that means and the effect that it has on us?
Absolutely. In the history of mankind, one of the things that we realized very early was that there's such a thing as the law of being. And the law of being really is this existence, which is the God force, this quantum field, if you will. And when the great sages who communicate directly with the experience of Source speak to him whenever he's asked a question, his answer about himself is answer, I am that I am. And what that is really stating is that it's stating a beingness, that existence that was before anything existed and it will be there after anything else existed. It is the eternal experience of now. It is the eternal experience of before thought, before speech, before action, before understanding anything in the universe. It is the most activating energy principle on the planet. So what it actually defines as, when you say I am, it is a state of mind, it is a state of being, this existence that is the acknowledgement that we are alive. And with that acknowledgement of livingness, of motion, energy in motion, basically, we start to experience, the effects of that energy. So it's a state of mind and it's a state of being. And it's the most powerful thing on the planet. It's the most powerful two words on the planet. It's the most powerful place where we create from. Being can't be done. It can't be made. It can't be had. It simply is or it's not. So the question is simple two words that, articulate the sense of beingness as I am. And the power of it is that whatever we attach to the words I am gets played out. In other words, if we think or say or act in accordance with I am health, or I am wealth, or I am joy, or I am abundance, or I am a great salesperson, or a great mother, or a great father, or a great business person, or a great manifester, that gets played out. It's a signal to the universe to take the energy of the I am, which is the vibration of Source, the vibration of all existence, and it then initiates according to what you attach the words I am for us to experience what that I am is. So it's the state of our announcement to the universe of what we want to experience and what we are. And in this world, we get what we are and not what we want. So in accordance to dealing with manifestation, we have to realize that everything is already in the universe. It already exists. There's nothing that is really created. All we're doing basically is realizing what's already there in different ways. And that's according to our focus. But the way to get there has to do first with the level of I am. It's a journey that we take when we use the words I am. It activates the life force, not only within us, but Source life force. It activates a series of self-images or images around who we are. Every time we say an I am, I am athletic or I am fat, we get an image of ourselves in that situation. And that image is what confines and programs our behavior. So every time we use the word I am, consciously or unconsciously, we are announcing and articulating to the universe the experience we want to have, knowingly or unknowingly. And most of us walk around this planet very unknowingly using I ams in the most negative ways. I'm angry. I'm really in trouble. I'm really broke. I'm really not able to make my bills. I'm this or that or whatever the case may be. And we walk around in that space. And we use those words to invoke worry or pain, and we don't quite understand what we're getting. And what we're starting to do is we start to, with the words I am, we activate our individual consciousness. And our individual consciousness creates a series of processes that are not linear, but they evolve from the place of I am. Every time you use the word I am, you are making an announcement to the universe about what you want to experience, knowingly or unknowingly. So when we use the I am, we have to step into the place of it's an identity which the universe pays attention to, because identity is reality. So with the words I am, we actually step into the way the world really works. And, all the effort and all the struggle and all the pain and all the analysis and all those things don't mean anything when compared to the I am, because the I am is the initiating force, which is the cause behind cause and effect, which is the primary law of the universe. I don't know if I'm explaining that well enough, but
you're explaining it brilliantly. It's perfect. So how do self-components, and maybe you can explain what self-components are, like consciousness, mind, and spirit, how do those all link into this?
I am is the central law of the universe, the primary law, before even the law of attraction or before the law of resonance or the law of correspondence. We can only attract, really, that which resonates with our frequency or rate of vibration. And the law of resonance in the I am tells us that to attract what we desire, we have to vibrate at the frequency of our desire. So attraction, the law of attraction and the law of beingness is scientifically inevitable. So the key is not to learn how to attract, but the key is to learn how to use our I am, because we know how to attract. We do it every moment of every day, and everything that we experience and everything that we are is a direct result of our ability to attract. So the question is, what am I attracting and how am I doing that? So when we start to understand the I ams, we begin to work with a way to instantly align or amplify our energy without focusing our thoughts or feelings into the negative, but into the place where the easiest path to manifestation in its most grandest simplicity is available to us. So we live in a universe of potentialities, everything that is, and all that can be is, and all that can be cannot be. All that cannot be cannot be. So what we're working with is we're tackling the identity principle. And the identity principle, under the statement of the identity principle, by definition, is a condition of being ourselves and not anybody else. So our identity is our I am. And the I am is what we choose to use to experience things. So our identity can't, it can change instantly by changing our I ams. And our identity creates our alignment, our consciousness, subconscious, and superconscious harmony. So in actuality, our identity is our world in relation to ourself. And our self is that grandest of all eternal energies, which is consciousness and directed energy. So the identity principle demonstrates that being comes first. It's the first cause of everything. And the world we encounter, our life, our body, our relationships, and our experiences is a direct result of our being or of our I am. So the question to the audience is, do you know what your I am is? Do you know what you want your I am to be? And when you make that definition, now you can start to manifest in the way that you want, because you are announcing to the universe, and it takes that very seriously because we're source energy. So it takes it very seriously. When we announce to the universe what we are, that starts the process of us experiencing that in whatever ways we can envision and we define. So we start to realize this seemingly simple little two words really it begins the journey, and it's a first principle because it provides the answers to the questions of what we want to get. So that is the relationship to the components. We have multiple components as personality, we have multiple components as soul, we have multiple components as action and physicality. But all of it is affected by this beingness that we announce for the experiences of what we are. And as we define that in greater and greater detail, our world becomes exactly deliberate. And rather than feeling like, something is happening to us, we experience ourselves as the creator of our world and everything that's in it.
Wow. Now, how do the universal laws apply to all of this? I know you deal with universal laws a lot. Everybody listening has been exposed to a lot with the universal laws. How do we fold them together?
The whole principle of universal law basically boils down to a couple of primary laws that run everything. Now, the universe is held together by a particular kind of glue, and that glue is the law of karma, or the law of cause and effect, at least in this dimension. So in this dimension that we live in the fourth dimension, third dimension, that we live in, it's run primarily by the law of cause and effect, which then, creates from it the law of attraction and so on and so forth. So the karma principle is a prime law that holds the universe together. It's next to being. Everything manifests in our lives due to cause and effect. Everything around us in our life at this moment originated with or was caused by a thought, our thought. Even this experience that we're having right now with each other right now is caused by a pre-thought. What we think about, we bring about. That's the principle of cause and effect. And our thoughts are the cause, and the effect is our lives that we see around us. It's really as simple as that. So if you understand and live by this law, we cannot fail to get whatever we want, because any event or thing that we want to experience can be created by deliberately directing our thoughts. Our thoughts are the principles, are the images and things that spit into reality in order for us to experience the effect of those thoughts. Everything is an effect working from a cause, and the effect becomes the cause of the next thing. And that's where we get the concept of karma, or cause and effect. What we reap, that we reap what we sow, and that we get what we give, and what goes around comes around, or the conservation laws of energy, or as you sow, so shall you reap, et cetera, et cetera. So thoughts are the cause, and the law of cause and effect are created by the thoughts that we have. Thoughts are the creative energy from which our world is built. Basically, if we just get the right cause set in motion, then the effect is automatic. So if you are not putting the right cause in motion, you're not going to get what you want. But if you do it correctly from the cause end rather than from the effect end, rather than from what you want to cause the thoughts and the announcements and the beingness of what it is that you are and what you want, combine those two things, and then the effect is automatic. You get what you want from that point. So what this does is it reminds us to be deliberate about the way we think. It reminds us to be, significant about the thoughts that we have. So my suggestion to everybody on this line is think big I am thoughts. I mean, if you want to create big, wonderful things in your life, choose powerful I ams. The bigger your I ams, and the way you think of yourself, the more effect you have on the universe and on the energy patterns that are around, and the greater path to your awakening. So be on the path of service. Think big. Every time you help somebody else grow, you grow yourself. Every time you help a group of people, your rewards grow exponentially. So the universe has your back, and it starts from the place of I am. It starts from your thoughts, and cause and effect come from your thoughts. So my suggestion is to dream of massive wealth, not just a little wealth. You can have whatever you want. The world can make anything happen. Dream of radiant health, astounding love relationships, overflowing creativity. You can cause anything to happen you want by simply the use of your I ams and your understanding of the law of cause and effect. And that's how they're related. So does that help at all?
Yeah, no, I love that. And I want to ask you actually a quick follow-up question. So actually, it's maybe two questions. Okay, so when we're declaring I am, what happens when that other part of you goes, no, you're not? How do we handle that?
Well, here's the thing. So if you contradict the statement, the announcement that you have, it washes out the effects that you put into motion by your I am. Mm-hmm. So if you say I am wealthy, but you're thinking thoughts, or you're saying to yourself, I am broke, I'm really broke, this is not true, you're going to wash out the thought of I am wealthy. But if you stay, I'm going to make this as simple as possible. To manifest anything, our job is simply to hold a vision of what we want. That's all we have to do, is hold a vision with emotion, with a love emotion, or a joy emotion, excitement emotion, or a eagerness emotion. That's all we need to do to manifest, is to have an I am this. I am a great manifester. I am a great scientist. I am a great technician. I am a great athlete, whatever the case may be. I am. Use the words I am, and then you'll create the vision and see your life the way you want it. And, you become that thing. All you have to do is hold that vision. Every time you contradict it, you internally contradict it, you wipe out everything you've done in the I ams. And this is the secret. Your purpose, your manifesting power is only to hold that vision. That will be enough for you to get anything you want without any difficulty at all. But the fact is, most people walk around, they contradict themselves 1,000 times every hour. I mean, they think about, okay, well, I want to go to Paris. You know what? I can't really afford Paris. Maybe I'll go to New York. Well, I can't really go to New York. Maybe I'll go to Timbuktu because that would be exciting. Well, how about if we go to Bali? So people are constantly contradicting themselves and doing all kinds of things internally in their dialogue. But if we take one I am and say, I want to go to Bali, that's where I want to go. And then we don't change that. And we hold the image of Bali, that beautiful feminine energy of magic and wonder and environment of emergent and all-encompassing love in that space. All we have to do is hold it, and it will manifest. If we start changing our thoughts and we start changing our minds about things, it wipes out what we've done in the I am. But the secret of the I am is that that's the initiator, and as long as you hold whatever your vision is from the I am, you can make anything manifest. And there isn't anything more to it than that. We so complicated with so many different things. It's ridiculous. So we want to make our I ams the grandest, most significant, most sensational versions of ourselves that we can possibly think. Because, we're creating our life story as we go. What's our life story telling us about ourselves, right? We got to believe that what it is that we're telling ourselves is on its way to coming true, whether we know that or not, in fact. So never listen to anybody that says, that you're less than anybody else. Never listen to anybody that says you're limited in any way. Don't listen to anybody that says, you can't do what you want or love what you do and earn a living from it. Don't listen to somebody who says you're not as valuable or worthy as the greatest human beings that have ever lived on earth. Don't listen to somebody if they say that you're not good enough or that, you have to prove yourself to somebody. Don't listen to somebody if they say that you have to have something other than what you are, or you have to be something other than what you are. If you believe people who tell you you are less than unlimited, you put limits on yourself. But more importantly, it's not true. There is no single thing that you're not good enough for, that everybody is not good enough for, no one single thing that's too good to be true. I mean, the object here that we're talking about with your audience and with us is to get into the place, and this is what I want to do. I want to set you free to receive an unlimited life. And this is the way, really. There are many different ways, but this is a primary way to do it. How do you think wealthy people get wealthy? They tell themselves, I am wealthy, or I am wealth. They keep acknowledging their wealth as it comes in. They keep acknowledging every little thing. Wealthy people are people who see the richness of life and keep telling themselves how worthy and how wonderful they are. I mean, you're worthy and you're deserving just as you are. You don't have to be anything. You don't have to earn anything. You're good enough right now. It doesn't matter. And if you feel you've done something that wasn't right, understand that your realization and acceptance of that is the absolution of that, just the realization and the acceptance. So this is how we start to create magnificent lives. We have to understand what's going on. Everything is frequency specific in our universe. We're tuned into particular frequencies that correspond to physical realities. It's as simple as that. So just get yourself an image that you want to correspond to identify with. You want to be wealthy? Identify with wealthy. I am of the wealthy. I am wealth. Identify with, you want to be, a riverboat captain? I am a riverboat captain. Become that internally first, and you become that externally directly afterwards. Okay, I'm a Nobel Prize winning scientist. Eventually, if you hold that image of you being there, eventually you will get there. You are leading your world. You are the creator of your world. We are all the creators of our own world, and there's nothing that we can't do. So everything corresponds to what we have, what's going on inside of us. Our beliefs, true or untrue, form our world. So why not form our world with the beliefs of our grandest, amazing selves? Okay. So the beauty of everything is, the real story is that we are unlimited beings, and we can create our lives in any way we want. I mean, we have to start telling ourselves the story of an amazing life, because whatever story we tell, good or bad, the law of attraction and the law of cause and effect must make that story come true. We have to receive the story that we're telling ourselves about ourselves, and we're telling other people. So the object is to imagine and feel whatever you want in the grandest version that you can, so that you can live the most successful, amazing life that you can. Create the pictures of you being in the world you want to identify with, not the pictures of the world you're in, because those are just past thoughts that you're experiencing now of things you've thought of in the past. from this moment on, decide to experience the world you want to live in the way you want to live it. So this is a story of liberation. I am now liberated from this moment on, and don't contradict that internally. Every time anything comes up to contradict that, say I'm feeling depressed, or I'm feeling ugly or fat or difficult or whatever the case may be, come back to your central I am statements, and you'll watch your world start turning around very, very, very quickly. It takes a little time for the universe to arrange for a physical thing to happen from the mental thing, but make no mistake about it, it must happen as long as you hold the vision. As long as you hold the idea and the vision and the thought of what you want to be and do or have, it must happen. And as long as you put, positive emotions behind that, love, the force of love, will make that happen in your world. So the I ams is the original, essential, initial cause, and the rest of it is, love taking over, because you can only I am positively what you love. So the universe says if you say I am depressed, the universe is experiencing that or interpreting that as I am loving being depressed. Okay? It doesn't say no. It doesn't reward this part of you and withhold that part of you. Whatever you tell yourself is what the universe is going to give you. So this is a magnificent insight. And the simplicity of it is astronomically profound. So if you guys understand this, it is the way to greatness in whatever form that you may want to experience it.
That's amazing. And you talk about the superlative principles of the self, and I love that. What are the benefits of knowing and applying these superlative principles of the self?
Wow. Well, we end up with an amazing amount of love in ourselves, for ourselves, in our environment. We step into the magic of the world being magical. What happens is we come upon, without our initiating it, we come upon sooner or later with the holding of our vision, we come upon this space which is grander than the fragmentation, grander than duality. We step into the space of being light and alive. We start to experience, the wholeness of things. We start to incorporate the unlimited powers that we all have, including telepathy and clairvoyance and telekinesis and all those other things. We start to step into this place of beauty and take delight in everything that happens. It'll take delight in the face that you see on the street, or the color of a car, or the ink of a pen, or whatever the case may be. We start to love our lives in these amazing ways. And of course, it comes back to us reciprocally, continuously. What we love, what we radiate out, comes back to us in a significant way, and multiplicatively as well. So if we love, we love a lifestyle of high wealth, we start to experience a lifestyle of high wealth, and it becomes multiplicatively. In other words, we'll get more back than what we're putting out. When we love, we get back what we put out plus. There's the or more principle on top of that. So life is really very significant in this way, and the benefits of this is that we feel light as a feather, our mind becomes sharp, we start to step into the feeling of being, of well-being consistently. We get to the place of where, any dip in the way we feel from our highest point becomes unbearable to us. So we recalibrate ourselves into the place of well-being continuously. I can't even be into an anger or a negative situation more than about 90 seconds most of the time. I'm so sensitive. We become body sensitive to the things we feel. I'm so sensitive to feeling bad that I have to, by nature of who I am now, just step right back into feeling good and do whatever it takes to do that. Understand that we don't have to be motivated when we love something. We don't have to be motivated to do or anything else. We simply do it. If you love playing baseball, you just simply do it. You don't ask somebody, how do I do that? You just step into the place of doing it, right? If you are hungry, you don't ask somebody, how do I eat? You go in there and you just go ahead and eat. You find out what you need to find out to do it. So this is the benefit of coming into these spiritual principles of understanding. You are your own authority, and you don't have to in any way, shape, or form go to anybody else to experience what you want. The master's job is to live an inspired life and then to turn out other masters. And there comes a point where, like in the Bruce Lee movies, I've taught you as much as I can talk to you. Now you go out and be the master and teach others, So this is the whole principle. The keys to all things are play, joy, and gratitude, play, joy, gratitude, starting with your I ams. Okay, so that's the keys that I teach. That's the key that has worked for me. It's a key that has worked for thousands and hundreds of thousands of people that I've worked with and millions before me that may not have been taught this. But the keys to power, the keys to joy, the keys to love, play, gratitude, and love. That's it. Beauty. When you're full of love, every limitation disappears. When you love yourself, you break the limitations of money or health or happiness, and the limits of your joy and your relationships just explode exponentially. When you fall in love with life, you don't have any resistance. And so whatever you love appears in your life almost instantaneously. I mean, your presence is felt when you walk into a room. The opportunities pour into your life continuously. Your slightest touch really dissolves any negativity. So you feel better than you ever thought you could feel. You'll be filled with unlimited energy, excitement, and unquenchable zest for life. And you start to become light as a feather. You start floating on air and feeling your love in just every single thing you do. As you fall in love with life through these principles, you unleash the power within you and you become unlimited and invincible. So those are just a few of the benefits, and that's only touching on the surface.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say we could go on for days and days about this. Okay, so what is it? So people are listening and they're going, "Yes, Harrison, this makes so much sense. I get this." What is it then that is keeping us from achieving manifestation, especially when it comes to effortless manifestation?
There's really only three things that keep us from having what we want. And if we can identify what this is within us, it absolutely makes all the difference in the world. One is the lack of love for what it is that we are or what we're doing, which means that we are not giving ourselves the accolades of who we are. We're not allowing ourselves through our conditioning. It may not be our fault. It may just be the conditioning and the acculturation and the people around us. So one is the lack of love. The second is resistance, so not really making a decision and not knowing whether or not you want to this thing. So you're not making a final, uncompromising decision. When you make a decision, that decision means you are not going into anything else. So you make a commitment to whatever it is you want. So lack of love, resistance, and then the things that keep us from having the other things we want are shame or guilt. Those are the two most prevalent things. If we are walking around with shame or guilt internally, whether we believe we've done something to somebody by action or by omission of action, we erode our self-worth. We erode our self-esteem. We erode our beingness in this world. When we erode our beingness, we feel that we don't deserve. We step into this place of unworthiness. Okay, and when we're unworthy, we cannot get what we want. So those are the whole crux. You simply turn those around by having bigger I ams, by letting the new realities that you want to create dissolve the limited old realities. You stay 51% of the time or more or better into the things you love, and then you become those things. Again, and the principle is very simple. In this world, we get in this world what we are and not what we want. And what that means is what we are has to be a part of us, internalized and able and clearly envisioned. Okay? So the things that keep us from doing that are lack of love, when we're angry, when we're fearful, when we're frustrated, when we're disappointed, when we're throwing out negative condescensions or admonitions to other people, because we're really doing that to ourselves, because there's only a system of one, so whatever we throw out comes back to us. Whenever we step into a place of difficulty and we feel the difficulty rather than the appreciation of the lesson, we keep ourselves from getting what we want. Whenever we step into the place of feeling shame or guilt, we drop our energy, eroding our self-esteem very dramatically, feeling unworthy, and then the universe can't give us what we want because it only gives us the frequency of what we radiate. So we want to radiate at a very, very high level. We want to radiate at the level of excitement and joy and wealth and happiness and dynamic personality and incredible sexuality and, incredible, financial ability. So as long as we're radiating at those levels, we get those things. The moment we start creating anything that is shame or guilt, when we tell somebody off, when we, say something very, very unkind to another person, when we make a massive judgment or even a small judgment on somebody else, we're making a judgment of ourselves. We're eroding our self-worth by doing those kinds of things. If we treat somebody unfairly in business, or we try to cheat them, or we try to get something over on them, we erode our self-worth and our self-esteem in that process. If we say something very uncomplimentary to our kids or to our relationships, simply because we're in a foul mood and we just want to lash out at something, we erode our self-worth. And as we erode our self-worth, that keeps us from manifesting what we want. It keeps us from connecting with the law of love, which gives us everything we want, the law of attraction, the law of beingness, and the law of, correspondence, which is we vibrate at the frequency of what it is that we are. And the physical plane gives back the frequency of what it is that's going on inside of us. Those are dramatic ways, but they're only simple. There's really only about 3 or 4 things, and that is shame, guilt, and negativity and lack of love. That's what keeps us from having anything. I know for a fact that everybody who I work with in my counseling, whenever they are about to lose money or they have lost money or they are losing money, it's because they are feeling internally resentful of some situation. So every feeling of resentment precedes loss of money, loss of wealth, loss of prestige, loss of self-esteem.
So how do we take all of this that we've talked about today and integrate it on a cellular level? And I love that you talk about integrating things on a cellular level. So many people will talk about how you sort of get it conceptually, but you're saying literally make this part of your cells. How do we do that?
Absolutely. There are multiplicity of ways. I probably have hundreds of ways to do it. But a very simple way is the fact that you want to physicalize whatever it is that you want to experience. In other words, if you want a new soulmate in your life, you want a new lover in your life, how do we do that? Well, we can have an image of that person. We can make a list of their qualities. We can have a vision of what they might look like, handsome, wealthy, dynamic, athletic, whatever the case may be. We want to have that person loving and cherishing us, not just being there, but, a relationship where they care about us in the same way or even more than we care about them. We want to be in a space where that becomes, our reality. We want to create the reality of that happening in our lives. And the ideal person, as smart as we want them to be, et cetera, as smart as we are, and we resonate with them. So we want to physicalize that. So we want to physicalize the dating process. This is just one example. You can take this to any extreme you want. But if you want to date somebody brand new, start to create, dinner for 2 at your house. If you're a single person, start to create dinner for 2. Set the place setting at your house. Put a candles on the table with a nice tablecloth. Dress up for your dinner. Sit there and cook very beautiful things. Imagine that you're talking to that person. Say, I am with my ideal lover. I am with my ideal mate. Start to get into the physicalization of those things. As you go out to a store, you imagine yourself with your lover. And, as you pick up a bottle of perfume when you're at the department store, turn to your lover and say, how does this smell? Physicalize the things you want to experience, because that's how it programs that integration into your nervous system for it for your subconscious to go out and make it be real, because it's already real in some part of the world. So as we make it more real in this part of our experience, as we're tuning into it being more real, it's the subconscious doesn't know the difference between your imagination and your physical reality. So as you physicalize it, it takes it as being real and then reprograms it to come to you again. If you are a public speaker, you want to step into the room where you are going to be speaking and you want to yell, I own this room. You want to feel the energy in that room. You want to see all the people that are there. And you want to go to that room before anybody's in there. You want to feel them standing on their feet, clapping really loudly for you. You want to feel the whole process of your pride in the fact that you've given a good presentation. You want to love the fact that your life is so wonderful that you can live your life by speaking your truth, that the universe will support you. You want to be in a state whereby, you are connected to everything that you want. And as you physicalize more things, the things that you dream about, if you want a super high-end automobile, go to a dealership, take a test drive, see how it feels, not just what it drives like, but see what it feels like in your body, see what it feels like on the road as your arm is sticking out the window, as the music is blaring, as your ideal person is sitting right next to you, enjoying and loving you and giving you beautiful looks. If you hear the music that's going on, physicalize it. Don't just think about it, physicalize it. And as you physicalize it, it starts to come into your reality that much faster. It's an acceleration. And then it is you, because it is you having that experience. And everything is just us anyway. But we are now in the experience. By being in the physical experience, we know what it feels like. And thus our vibration can then correspond to what it is that we want to have brought to us. Does that help?
No, absolutely, that helps. It's amazing. Harrison, can you share with us a couple, 2, 3 stories of people and some of the turnarounds that they've experienced by applying what we're talking about here today?
Oh my God! Well, right in the past several weeks, just in different things. We've had somebody manifest a $36,000 check. We've had somebody triple their income. We've had somebody, find the mate of their dreams. We've had somebody step into creating big deals for their art. We've had people who gotten interviewed in magazines, people who are moving from total poverty to total abundance. We've changed their mindset. In the past, I've had people who were death's bed with disease and discomfort and pain and step into, health and vibrancy. Those are just a few. I can go on. No hopes of turning their life around, almost suicidal, and ready to give it all up because their income had dwindled to such an extent they couldn't support their family, they couldn't support themselves. They were in deep pain from the admonitions they were putting upon themselves, and within just a few short weeks, not only were they feeling good, feeling great, but they started attracting opportunities, very, very high financial opportunities. They manifested and worked with people that came into their lives that introduced them to people that they had relationships with. The stories are endless. It just goes on and on and on. So these things are universal principles. They are universal laws, which mean they apply to everybody all the time, everywhere. So there's nobody who's excluded once you understand how they work and how it grows your maturity. You become more brilliant, you become more wealth-oriented, you become magic to other people and yourself. You gain in your self-confidence. And we have done that with nearly everybody, I think probably 100% of everybody we've ever worked with in individual counseling. And the people who go through the products, I have testimonials up the wazoo that I get probably every week or two continuously about how we've helped change their lives. So, yeah, there's just all kinds of series of turnarounds, and from people all over the world. It's not even restricted to English. We've had people work with in Turkey and Japan and all kinds of other things. So, it's been some massive good stuff that's happened.
And this is why I love having you here, because what I get so excited about, and everybody knows this, is helping everybody get control of their lives and start creating the lives that they have always dreamed was possible, but maybe always felt like, well, that would be nice. And, what we're doing here, what you're helping us with, is taking it from being just something that would be nice to a true real thing. And I love that. And there's obviously so much more to learn from you. We could sit here and talk all day long. And that's why I asked you to create a special offer for everybody who's listening to the call. Go to Harrison's special offer right now to experience it for yourself. And then I'm going to have Harrison talk us through what you'll find there. So to access this page for yourself, simply click on the special offer button that's on this page. And Harrison, it would be great if you could talk us through what we'll find there.
The product is really a series of discussions and modules that we've put together over the course of everything we've learned, a synthesis of probably 30 years of experience of working with people in the areas of being and cause and effect and mind images and how to find purpose in your life and how to meditate and happiness and abundance and all that. So we're looking at a series of modules that go into the principles, the thoughts, and the effects of our growth process, our maturation as spiritual beings. We know that when we talk to a number of people, there's a very high value that people have on having more money. What we find is that as we start to work through this process, we start to work through feeling better, looking better, thinking better, acting better, and integrating ourselves into this process, we get into this place of physical maturity, and our wallet grows as our spirit grows. Our wallet grows, our health grows, our love grows by the spirit of this. So, we work with the ideas that create the strength of character, of beingness, of the highest visions that we can create about ourselves. If you want to be a decamillionaire, or you want to be a billionaire, or you want to be a movie star, or you want to be a sensational business person, or you want to work with, other things. I mean, I've worked with celebrities, and I've worked with doctors and lawyers and all kinds of other things, and we've mentored them into some significant changes, some significant positive changes. So the series that we're doing has multiple modules in it, and it teaches us basically how to redefine our lives through the principles of the I am, through the principles of being, through the principles of cause and effect. And it teaches us exactly what it is that we need to look at and how we need to look at them so that there is no doubt in the process of our growth. It's a revolution in consciousness is really what it is. Now, the principle is you can't keep doing the same things and getting the same and expecting different results, right? So
right.
The object is to then look at the things that you want to, integrate the things that you want to. That doesn't mean you have to give up who you are right now. This is a big blockage for a lot of people. They think that to get something new, they have to give up who they are. No, this is just an addition to what you already are. Now, you will be a different person. However, you're still going to contain the same interests. You still can contain the same type of communication skills, the same type of quality of life as you have, and 10 times better. But, you can hold on to anything you want, but why not become something that is the grandest version of you rather than the one that you're not totally satisfied with? We want to step into coherence. Coherence means complete or wholeness. So the reason why people suffer, there is two reasons why people suffer, is that they've misperceived the experiences that they're having. And the other one is that they look at the fragment rather than the whole. When you're a whole person, as opposed to, just focusing on parts of you and then negating or ignoring other parts of you or disowning parts of you, when you're not whole, you're going to experience suffering because you're not allowing that wholeness to be the universe. So, but if you start to step into this place of new consciousness, this new understanding of wholeness, your mind gets sharp, it gets brilliant, it becomes, interesting, you become interested in everything, and thus everything starts to get interested in you. And, you start to set goals that are really more fascinating to you, not based on what society wants as an ideal, but based on what you truly are interested in internally. You start to step into this place of super accomplishment because it's easy. It's easy as you are whole because you are the universe. You simply tune into the radio station that is you in this universe in the way that you want to experience it, because everything out there already exists. All we are doing is focusing on particular slices of what's out there. But as we become whole, now we start to make choices that are based on wholeness. We start to align with or identify with infinity or spirit, if you will. And if we're aligned with spirit, we know without a shadow of a doubt that nothing is difficult for spirit. It's a path and a journey that takes you through and up into the gateway. So that's what this is about. It's designed to build upon the you that is the ultimate you. It takes you to this maturation process, the ability to realize, your desires and the ability to realize, the most significant you. It's a custom reality creator, if you will. So you step into your character, you step into your integrity, you step into your highest vibration, you're full of energy and power and love, and the blockages that you once thought were so prevalent in the things that you want, where you realize were never there to begin with. It's just that you've been focusing on them. So
right.
You withdraw your attention from the stuff that doesn't work and you put your attention on the stuff that does work.
wow, you're a whole new person. And that whole new person is unlimited. And you have no idea, or maybe you do, but the amount of energy surges that move through your body in that way. And then the expansion of your consciousness. So it's really dramatic. So it turns your experience into everything that's heartfelt. Okay.
I love that. Okay, so everybody definitely, this is an amazing opportunity. This is something that truly can turn things around for you quickly, and I'm going to ask Harrison about that in a second. But before I do, I just want to remind you, if you haven't yet, just click on the special offer button on this page to see for yourself what an amazing package this is. You'll be glad you did. Harrison, when people start working with this program, what are some of the biggest benefits that they could expect to start to experience right away? Obviously, we've seen a lot of what can happen over time, but what are some of the things that they could expect to start to experience literally right away?
This is an instant transformation experience. And the I am is instantaneous. It does not need time. In the quantum field, when you go from A to B, in the physical field, when you go to A to B, you have to cross the distance in between. In the quantum field, you don't have to cross that distance. A and B are the same, so there's no distance to cross. So you can experience anything you want instantaneously. You're immediately going to feel better. Now, one of the things you can recognize is that when you say, I am great or I am happy, you're going to feel a hell of a lot lighter than when you say, I am depressed or I am bored. Okay? So, that's an instantaneous transformation. If you hold on to the I am bored, or you'll experience that downward heaviness. If you hold on to the I am happy and I am light as a feather and I am, exuberant, or whatever the case may be, you're going to experience that state of mind, which then will create things from that state of mind, which will be causes for new effects, et cetera, et cetera. So you're going to immediately experience, a lighter beingness of a state of mind and a lighter sense of yourself. You're going to be in a space where things start to feel good. You'll stay in a steady state of well-being. But even from there, you're also going to start to realize and synchronize with the things that your thoughts are creating. So you will notice by synchronization what thought created what experience in your life. You'll be able to trace it back without a shadow of a doubt that this is the thought that created this experience. And by doing that, you become much more deliberate. And so in doing that, you start to become deliberate, and then you become the creator of your world. And that grows like a muscle, but it grows to unlimited source. A muscle has whatever limitations it has in terms of the size of your humanness. But this has no limitation. So the more you start to notice, the grander everything becomes for you. And that is immediate. You'll start to immediately acquire this experience and this knowledge of direct source connection. You'll start to see what moves your body, what moves your mind, what moves your spirit with with very little doubt. And as you start to notice those things, all you have to do is acknowledge them, and they get stronger and they become more. What you place your attention into grows. It's as simple as that. So the word manifest is really, really clear. If you go to the roots of the words, it means to invest attention into. That's how reality is created. Your attention becomes the source and cause of what you want to experience in your life. So the more you look at something internally, the more you've decided to continue to look at something internally, the faster it starts to come to you. And when you add your emotional content to that, your certainty and your emotional content to you, you're going to experience some incredible acceleration in this process. So, it's all the principle of what we're talking about, being in cause and effect. As you combine those two things, if you combine your I am and you use it for cause and effect by understanding how cause and effect works, you will experience things immediately. Now, you'll also see indicators. For example, you may have a big dream, and let's say your dream is out there. Let's say it's out there so that, it's 3 months or 3 years in the future or whatever. Say you want to become a decamillionaire or whatever the case may be. You'll start to see indicators right now of that is on its way. So if you start dreaming of things of being, let's just say you want to be a race car driver or something like that, and now you're working as a laborer or carpenter or whatever the case may be. So you'll start noticing different things start coming to you. I mean, opportunities around, pick up this magazine or talk to this person, or God, you heard this thing. The information, the experiences, and the people are sent to you. And as you start acknowledging that they're being sent to you because you are creating them from your thoughts and from your I ams, you then know that everything is on its way. And then your certainty becomes much more defined, subtle, and strong. So when you start noticing the indicators that things are on your way, all you have to do is relax and then just go with the flow. It doesn't mean you don't have to act on opportunities. You do. If something is presented to you, the universe wants the acknowledgement that you are recognizing that it's sending it to you. So when you acknowledge that, but you will see the indicators of anything that you want start to come into your energy field within days. Or if you're acutely aware of how it works, you'll see it fairly quickly. But indicators will start to come on. Like when you think of a movie that you saw 2 years ago and you really start to enjoy it inside of your head, you say, I really loved that movie. And then 3 days later, it shows up on television. That's an indicator, right? It's an indicator of something that you have thought. The same thing is with all of your desires and your desires to manifest. You start to get indications of what it is that you have put into effect. And those indicators, if you are sharp and if you're open, and we teach you how to be sharp and open and what to look for, as you start to see that, you become more anchored in the knowledge that it's on its way, and until it shows up. And so it shows up in the physical plane. So, yeah, that helps a lot too. So, and understand that as you acknowledge those things, it removes the blockages. You start to trust in the vision. You start to trust in the happiness. You start to trust in the abundance. And in doing that, your life changes immediately. No matter what it is or who you are, there's always that much more available to you in the unlimited realm. There's nothing that the universe has in limited supply. The universe is unlimited in the same way that a digital download is unlimited. You can make it once and then distribute it 20 million times, and you can still distribute it 20 million times after that without any deterioration of the original. So,
right. It's incredible. Everybody definitely go to this link. It's manifesteverythingnow.com/effect, spelled EFFECT. Harrison, you've been incredible. I just love everything that you've shared with us. I think, we can all walk away and really start applying everything we talked about right now. So I so appreciate that. You always show up with your full self, and I really cannot thank you enough for that. Is there anything you want to leave us with? Any parting words that you want to leave us with today?
I'll be on Griffin Road at 7 o'clock for anybody who wants to meet me. No. The only thing that I want to tell you guys is that, your magnificence is within your scope of feeling, understanding, being, and doing. And again, don't let anybody tell you you're any less than any other person that ever lived on this planet, because you're not. You are as great as anything that ever lived. You only have to acknowledge it. And don't shy away and don't cringe and, don't give your power away to anybody else. You are unique. Allow your uniqueness to express itself. Allow your uniqueness to come forth. You will have massive, massive insights and awarenesses and ahas and beauty and financial abundance and sensual abundance and experience abundance. So, allow yourself to do those things. Be kind to yourself. Be good to yourself, and be good to those around you, because they are you. So we are all one. I love you as I love myself. The object is to know your image and your desire as well as you know your name. That's what that is my final words to you guys.
Those are the perfect words.
Yeah. Well, thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you all so much for being here. You're absolutely extraordinary. And Harrison, thank you. You are absolutely extraordinary as well. And I so appreciate your time with us.
It's my great pleasure to be here. I love the way you do what you do. So all's good.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye, everyone.